Good morning, everyone. Our topic is on fundamentals of Arduino programming. So this will be presented by Yajnesh, Uttam, Varun, and Vishwas. So hello, I am Varun. Now the presentation will be done on the topics of Arduino console, void setup, and void loop. So this is Arduino console. So in this console of the old editor, where we used to write the code in separate window, and the output will be displayed in the separate window. Whereas in the new console, the new editor, the workspace and the output window both are embedded in the same screen. So next we'll continue on void setup and void loop. So to load a most basic Arduino sketch, open the Arduino IDE, click on file, and then we have to write the program. In program, we use void setup and void loop. So void setup is the first function to be executed in the sketch, and it is executed only once. It usually contains statements that sets pin mode on the Arduino to output and input. So let us consider an example. Void setup pin mode of 12 comma output. So in this the pin mode 12 will be set up as output. Moving on, void loop. Void loop is a function that executes indefinitely until you power off the Arduino. The function in the void loop usually manipulates the Arduino's input and outputs. So write a high or low to a certain pin and the data collected from them. So let us consider an example. So change the temperature sensor value from Celsius to Fahrenheit. You can also call upon local and global variables as well as other functions. So in short, in the void loop, the magic happens. Thank you. Next, the presentation will be continued by Yajnesh.
The next topic is about functions. Functions is a piece of code that has name and set of statements executed. When function is called, the functions are declared by its type followed by with the name of the function. Basically, function is a set of activity to be performed with the particular name. Like we can perform a set of actions given inside a function, which has a particular name with the particular syntax followed by like type, function name, and the parameter used, through which we can perform a set of activities which is being uh, executed, could be executed. It contains a certain set of statements to be executed, and functions has a particular name. uh, Continuation. True or false, boolean constant, true equal to 2, false equal to 1. Define D in logic levels. If B equal to true, then do something like give a set of actions or activities to be performed. Input or output used with the pin mode 0 function to define levels. Pin mode 13 as output, in which we will be getting the output from the Arduino board. uh, in this we can see that a function contains a name inside which it contains a set of activities to be performed with a particular format, which will be taken as an input through a particular pin, and is displayed in output in a particular pin. Next, yeah. Next presentation will be continued by Uttam.
Now I will be going to the flow control statements. In flow control statement, there are totally 5 flow control statements: if else, for, while, and do while. First one is the if flow control statement. In if statement, it executes if the condition is only having a true value, and its syntax is if followed by variable name and the operator. Uh, Next is if else. Here if else, if condition is false, then only it will be going to the else condition. Its syntax is if input equal to high. If the given input is high, then only the it will else condition will be executed, or else it will not be executed. Next one is for. In for condition, for of initialization condition comma expression. Initialization, it is used to initialize the given set of values. Condition is used to given the certain set of condition. And expression, it is used to increment or decrement the value. Syntax is int uh, for int p equal to 0, p less than s, p plus plus. Here s can be given as a value of 5, which declares p if test if less than 5. Here p increments by 1 plus 1. Digital write of 13 comma high. uh, Here it sets the pin 13 has to be on, and it delay by one pauses for 1/4 second. A digital write of 13 comma low. Here sets the pin the 13 to be off, and in this it pauses for 1/4 second. Next one is while statement. Here while loop executes until the expression inside the parenthesis become false. Here while condition will be executed inside the given set of parentheses, while of some variable followed by variable name. Here it will be executed inside the while loop condition, and inside the loop statement it will be executed. Next one is do while. It is the opposite of while statement. Here first first post increment will be taken place while of some value. Here it will be executed using the do while statement. Next will be continued by Vishwas.
Okay, next we are looking into a new topic called digital and analog input output pins and their usage. First one is digital input output. In this we have three modes. First one is pin mode, then is digital read and digital write. So let's look into a pin mode. What is this pin mode? Pin mode is used to define which pin is used to do what task. In this, if we can set the pin like for example 13 and mode as output, so it means that the 13th pin will be set to output. So by the 13th pin we can extract the output or we can get the result. So next one is digital read. Digital read will be used to read the output from the some certain pins. So in this it will gives a value, so we have to store it before before execution of next statement. So the next one is digital write. So it has two parameters. First one is pin and the value. So in this digital write, what it does is it will write the value to a certain pin which is defined before. So digital read and digital write will work on a serial monitor, which will be default in a ID, which is Arduino ID. Let's look into an example. In this, int x equal to 13. It means x variable is represent the pin number 13. Then int p equals to 7. In this, the p will be represented as push down button and it set to a pin number 7. Next one is value equals to 0. It is a variable to store the read value by the system. So next, the void setup. Void setup is a default method which will be executed whenever the program will start. So in this, we are using first method, that is pin mode x comma output. Here pin mode of x is nothing but the pin number 13. So that pin number 13 will be set to output. So from this statement we can know that we can extract the value from 13 pin number. Next one is void loop. Void loop will be a loop statement, so it will be executed until your program get terminated or the user get terminates the program. So in this loop, first we are using digital read of p. It means we are reading the value from the pin numbers 7. So it gives an result. So we have storing it inside a variable called val. So next we have to display that value. So we are using the method called digital write of x comma value. That is, we are sending the value to a pin number 13, which will be read. So here digital read can be used to read the data from any sensors like temperature, humidity, any sensors we can use. So by that sensors whenever the sensor will generate a output, that will be readed by the digital read, which will be set it to a pin. So in this we are using push down button. Whenever push button is pressed, so it will push down buttons mainly sends the values either 0 or 1, that is true or false. So we can get the values either 0 or 1. So next one is analog input outputs. In analog input outputs, we have two methods, that is analog read and analog write. First one is analog read. What is analog read? Analog read is used to read the value from an analog sensors or any equipments. So it takes one parameter as pin. So we can set any pin numbers to read the value. Second one is analog write. It takes two parameters, pin number and a value. So it is basically used to display the value of in a monitor or the serial monitor. So let's look into an example. First one is x int equals to 10. So it is same as that one as previous. So here we are setting the pin number 10 to a variable x. So next is p equals to int p equals to 0, which is represented for p is represented for potentiometer to a analog pin number 7. So next int val, it is used to read the value or store the value. Next one is void setup. It is a default method which, so in this we are no writing any codes because we don't need to set any variable. So inside void loop, it is a repetitive task. In this we are reading the analog values from analog read method. So by this we are getting the value from a potentiometer. So by the here we are getting the value to 0. So next one is analog write. It takes two parameter. As usual, we can pass with the x and val. Here, so by this, the 10th pin will be set it with the value which will be readed by analog read. So this value will be displayed in the monitor. So next one we have method called time. It is used to delay or pause the execution flow of the system or the IoT projects. Here we have two methods, delay and millisecond. So basically delay takes a millisecond values as a parameter and it pause with the seconds. It takes milliseconds as a parameter but it pause to a second, but millisecond will pause the execution flow for millisecond only. Next one is math function. Math function is basically used for do some mathematical operations in the program. Here we have taken two values, min and max. It's typing error, so it's max. So min will be takes two parameters x and y or a and b, any value, two integers or floating values. So it will return a value which is minimum between that two values. So next one is max, which will same that of min. It will return a value which is max or higher. Next one is random. Random variable is used to generate random values. So in this, if you want to display a random value from with the 10 steps, so to get the 10 values, so we are using random methods. So in this we have extra two methods called random seed and random. So random seed will be set the value execution to a random value. It will take automatically by default some values. So in random, we can uh, set the range of the random value. In random seed, it will automatically take whatever the range it can take. But in random, we can set the minimum and maximum range of value. If we set min as 1 and max as 10, then the random value will be generated between 1 and 10 only. So let's see an example. So here we are taking integer r as a variable to store a random value. So and int x equal to 10. So we are doing in void setup itself. So in void setup we are setting a random seed of millisecond. So it will seed a value with the millisecond. Then we are setting a number equals to random of 200. So in this we are passing only one parameter. So by default it takes as a min value as 0 and max as 200. So the random number generated between 0 to 200. Next one is analog write x comma number. So here we are defined x with the 10. So it will take the value from the pin number 10 and with the random value which will be generated, so that will be displayed. After that we are giving a delay of 500, so it will be delayed for 1/5 time of the time. So it will be delayed. After that next value will be fetched. So the last one is serial. So here we are using two methods, serial begin and serial dot println. Basically serial begin is used to execute or start the serial monitor. So in this we are using serial dot begin method with the parameter rate. So in this what happens is whenever this statement will be executed, and automatically serial monitor will be opened so that we can read the value by the sensor which will be displayed. Then serial dot println of data, it will be just display the values. So serial dot begin will open the serial monitor, and serial dot println will be print or write the values. So in this we have one more method called serial dot print only. So in that method it will just print the value side by side, but in serial dot println each value will be displayed in a new line. For example, void setup of serial begin of 9600. So in this serial monitor by default set it to a value of 9600 bps. So that's all for this PPT, and thank you.